This is a study in 2 Samuel, chapters 9, 10, and 11. We are going to see in this lesson that David will take a turn and will displease the Lord with a sin that he should not have committed. Chapter 9, verse 1. And David said, Is there yet any that is left in the house of Saul, that I may show him kindness for Jonathan's sake? And we remember in 1 Samuel that when Jonathan and David parted ways, they made a covenant together. And also, David had promised Saul that he would not cut off his house. Often that did happen when a new king came into power. The remaining family of the prior king were killed. 2. And there was of the house of Saul a servant whose name was Ziba. And when they had called him unto David, the king said unto them, Art thou Ziba? And he said, Thy servant is he. 3. And the king said, Is there not yet any in the house of Saul, that I may show the kindness of God unto him? And Ziba said unto the king, Jonathan hath yet a son, which is lame on his feet. And that would be Jonathan's son and Saul's grandson. And this child was being carried by a nurse when he was about 5 years old, and she dropped him, and he was forever lame. 4. And the king said unto him, Where is he? And Ziba said unto the king, Behold, he is in the house of Machir, the son of Ammiel, in Lo-debar. And he is going to send for this boy. 6. Now when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was coming to David, and David said, Mephibosheth, and he answered, Behold, thy servant. This boy would have been about 20 years old. And it says the son of Jonathan and the son of Saul, for the reason that there is not a word in the Hebrew language that is for grandson, granddaughter, grandfather. They are simply called son or daughter. 7. And David said unto him, Fear not, for I will show thee kindness for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore all the land of Saul thy father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually. So he is invited to eat at the king's table, and he will have all that Saul had in property, and that would have been a considerable amount of possessions. 8. And he bowed himself and said, What is thy servant that thou shouldest look upon such a dead dog as I am? A dead dog, that is a very contemptible name to be called in the Hebrew, and he is simply saying, how I'm just a nothing, and yet you are going to treat me this way. He is humble. 9. Then the king called to Ziba, Saul's servant, and said unto him, I have given unto thy master's son all that pertained to Saul and to all his house. So he would have come into quite an inheritance. 10. Now therefore, and thy sons and thy servants shall till the land for him, and thou shalt bring in the fruits, that thy master's son may have food to eat. But Mephibosheth, thy master's son, shall eat bread alway at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. So they are going to farm the land, and they will be able then that those persons and servants to eat what is harvested from the property that is now the grandson of Saul. 12. And Mephibosheth had a young son whose name was Micah, and all that dwelt in the house of Ziba were servants unto Mephibosheth. All of these were, of course, Saul's at the beginning. 13. So Mephibosheth dwelt in Jerusalem, for he did eat continually at the king's table, and was lame on both his feet. That is the end of chapter 9, and we have seen David behave in an honorable and good way, keeping that promise that he made to Jonathan and to Saul. Chapter 10. And it came to pass after this that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun his son reigned in his stead. 2. Then said David, I will show kindness unto Hanun, the son of Nahash, as his fathers showed kindness unto me. And David sent to comfort him by the hand of his servants for his father. And David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon. Now, back this Nahash, he had a bad name, meaning in the Hebrew, his name meant snake, and he went into Jabesh Gilead, and he said they'd make a covenant with them if they would come in to serve him, and they could if they would only give their right eye. Well, the right eye would have been very important in using the arrow and bow. Nahash now had been kind to David. As he knew David was an enemy of Saul, he had given David some help in when he was running from Saul. Now, David is sending, with a good heart, sending gifts and persons to take these gifts to Hanun. And we will see that they are wary of this story. And the princes of the children of Ammon said unto Hanun, their lord, Thinkest thou that David doth honor thy father, that he hath sent comforters unto thee to search the city and spy it out and to overthrow it? So this son of old Nahash is hearing that David very likely is up to no good, which isn't true. 4. Wherefore Hanun took David's servants and shaved off the one half of their beards and cut off their garments in the middle, even to their buttocks, and sent them away. This would have been the height of an insult. A Hebrew man's beard was his honor, and he does not mean that they cut it this way. They are going to take half of it away, and they have whacked off then their robes so that their hind ends are exposed. And it would have been a long trip home in a blazing sun, and there would have been some burnt cheeks. 5. And when they told it unto David, he sent to meet them, because the men were greatly ashamed, missing a beard and their buttocks exposed. Of course they were. And the king said, Tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. 6. And when the children of Ammon saw that they stank before David, that would mean stank would mean they were abhorred. They were going to look for some mercenaries to help out. 6. And when they saw that they stank before David, the children of Ammon sent and hired the Syrians of Beth-rehob and the Syrians of Zobah, 20,000 footmen, and of King Maacah 1,000 men, and Ishtab 12,000 men. So they have hired them some paid persons to fight. 7. And when David heard, he sent Joab and all the host of the mighty men of Israel. Now Joab would be his nephew, the son of his sister, and the mighty men earlier were 30, but this time the mighty men of Israel would have been the whole army. So these mercenaries will very likely not have any luck against the mighty men of Israel. 8. And the children of Ammon came out and put the battle in array at the entering in of the gate, right outside the gate. And the Syrians of Zobah and Rehob and Ishtab and Maacah were by themselves in the field. So they are one part in the frontward and one part in the rear. 9. When Joab saw that the front of the battle was against him, before and behind, they have got up front and in the back, he chose of all the choice men of Israel and put them in array against the Syrians. He took his very best, the most formidable, and his army to take care of this. 10. And the rest of the people he delivered into the hand of Abishai, his brother, that he might put them in array against the children of Ammon. Abishai is the brother of Joab, also the nephew of David, as they are sons of his sister. 11. And he said, If the Syrians be too strong for me, then thou shalt help me. But if the children of Ammon be too strong for thee, then I will come and help thee. Notice that they don't say, well, in case I fail. They're saying, if I need help, you come to me, and if you need help, I'll come to you. But he certainly does not discuss that either there will be any total failure, because they know that God is with David. 12. Be of good courage, and let us play the men for our people, for the cities of our God, and the Lord do that which seemeth him good. Now, the translation there needs a little help. Playing the man, he said, be of good courage. He is saying, we'll be strong and we'll be courageous, but then we will turn it to God. 13. And Joab drew nigh, and the people that were with him, unto the battle against the Syrians, and they fled before him. So the Syrians took off. They are not fighting for a cause. They are fighting for money, and it didn't take very much to send them running. 14. When the children of Ammon saw that the Syrians were fled, then fled they also before Abishai, and entered into the city. So Joab returned from the children of Ammon and came to Jerusalem. So they fled away from Joab's brother, and they went in the city. And they went back to Jerusalem because winter is coming and it's not a good time for battle. 15. And when the Syrians saw that they were smitten before Israel, they gathered themselves together. 16. And Hadaezer sent and brought out the Syrians that were beyond the river, over on the other side of the Jordan. Unknown location today. We aren't sure exactly where that is. And they came to Helam, and Shobach, the captain of the host of Hadaezer, went before them. 17. And we see in here old Hadaezer is sending for some help and some reinforcements too himself. 17. And when it was told David, he gathered all Israel together, all of his army, and passed over Jordan and came to Helam, and the Syrians set themselves in array against David and fought him. 18. And the Syrians fled before Israel, and David slew all the men of 700 chariots of the Syrians, 40,000 horsemen, and smote Shobach, the captain of their host, who died there. 19 to finish this chapter. And when all the kings that were servants to Hadaezer saw that they were smitten before Israel, they made peace with Israel and served them. So the Syrians feared to help the children of Ammon any more. Now, those persons there, all those kings, those would have been vassal kings that were serving the Hadaezer. So the Syrians have abandoned, and these vassal kings have abandoned him and joined in a league to David. Chapter 11, we're going to see David in an extremely bad mess up. And it came to pass, after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, and kings go forth in the spring and summer, and David is at home then, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah, that would be their capital city. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. He is not out at war. He may have had too much time on his hands. 2. And it came to pass in an evening tide that David arose from his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. Now you want to wonder, why would someone get on a rooftop to bathe when it would be seen by someone at least? 3. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, Is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite. And of course, Uriah the Hittite was one of 30 main captains in David's army. He was a respected and good warrior. 4. And David sent messengers and took her, and she came unto him, and he lay with her. For she was purified from her uncleanliness, and she returned unto her house. She's not purified of what she did. She merely had herself another little bath and then went home. Now, adultery in the time of David would have been a capital crime and would have been given death by stoning. Why'd she take a bath? Leviticus 15:18. The sexual act makes one unclean, so she didn't cleanse her soul, but she cleansed her body. 5. And the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child. 6. And David sent to Joab, saying, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. He's getting Uriah home to try to cover this pregnancy that has occurred because of the adultery. And when Uriah was coming to him, David demanded of him how Joab did and how the people did and how the war prospered. His excuse for calling him home, oh, I need a report. That was not the reason, of course, that David called him home. 9. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord and went not down to his house. And that's what he was supposed to do. David had said, I missed verse 8, and David had said unto Uriah, Go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mass of meat from the king. He gave him a big piece of wonderful meat, but we just covered 9, and he just slept right outside the king's house with the servants. He did not go home. 10. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, Comest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down to thy house? 11. And Uriah said unto David, The ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into mine house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife? As thou livest and as thou so livest, I will not do this thing. A very honorable person, this Uriah. 12. And when David said unto Uriah, Tarry here today also, and tomorrow, and I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow. 13. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. And at even he went out to lie on his bed with the servant of his Lord, but he went not down to his house. So David has gotten him intoxicated in the hope that he will go home, and then there will be a cover story for this pregnancy. 14. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. So he sent Joab a letter. 15. And he wrote in the letter saying, set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. Now, he's adding murder to his sin of adultery. 16. And it came to pass, when Joab observed the city, that he assigned Uriah into a place where he knew that valiant men were. There were archers on the wall opposed of the opposing city. 17. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people of the servants of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also. 18. Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war. 19. And charged the messenger, saying, when thou hast made an end of telling the matters of the war unto the king. 20. And if so be that the king's wrath arise, and he say unto thee, wherefore approached ye so nigh unto the city when ye did fight? Knew ye not that they would shoot from the wall? 21. Who smote Abimelech the son of Jerubasheth? Did not a woman cast a piece of millstone upon him from the wall, that he died in Thebez? Why went you nigh the wall? Then say thou, thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead. So when he's asked questions about this story, that's what he is to say. 22. So the messengers went and came and showed David all that Joab sent for. 23. And the messengers said unto David, surely the men prevailed against us, and came out unto us in the field, and we were upon them even into entering the gate. 24. And the shooters shot from off the wall upon thy servants, and some of the king's servants be dead, and thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Of course, he's dead. They were moving targets for these archers. They were sitting ducks. 25. Then David said unto the messenger, thus shalt thou say to Joab, let not this thing displease thee, for the sword devoureth one as well as another. Make thy battle more strong against the city, and overthrow it, and encourage thou him. So he's saying, go back and tell Joab to fight on. 26. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. 27. To end this chapter. And when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife, and bare him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. Psalm 32 is captures David's feelings at this time. Psalm 32, we will take a look at it. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. God forgave David. Blessed is the man unto whom the Lord imputeth not iniquity, but in whose spirit there is no guile. 3. When I kept silence, my bones waxed old through my roaring all the day long. 4. For night and day and night thy hand was heavy upon me. My moisture is turned into the drought of slumber. Selah. 5. I acknowledge my sin unto thee, and my iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgressions unto the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. Selah. 6. For this shall every one that is godly pray unto thee in a time when thou mayest be found. Surely in the floods of great waters they shall not come nigh unto him. Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble. Thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance. Selah. I will instruct and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye. 9. Be ye not as the horse or as the mule, which have no understanding, whose mouth must be held in with their bit and bridle, lest they come near unto thee. Many sorrows shall be to the wicked, but he that trusteth in the Lord, mercy shall compass him about. 11. Be glad in the Lord, and rejoice, ye righteous, and shout for joy, all ye that are upright. And the sorrows shall be to the wicked, a reference to the Antichrist and the failure to allow the Holy Spirit to speak through one in that Pentecostal cloven tongue, guided by the Holy Spirit. The failure to do that is the only unforgivable sin. David was forgiven. Thank you for listening to this tape, and we will continue through to the book of 2 Samuel in the next lesson.